Hey up guys, welcome to the only place where you're going to get wrestling content from a blind person's point of view. This is Wrestling in the Dark, and this week I'm bringing you an NXT versus AEW Super Show. I'm going to be reviewing both shows. I'll tell you who's the commentator of the night, the commentary team of the night, and some awesome wrestler has been in touch with me via direct messages on Twitter to answer the WITD challenge and describe themselves in their own words, so make sure you stick around for that. This was a huge week really for both shows, with AEW crowning the first ever tag team champions and a contract signing for the Cody versus Jericho match at Full Gear, as well as a women's tag title match in NXT, and a huge announcement, as well as some epic promos from Finn Balor and Jon Moxley. So stick around, have fun, and let's have a look at this week's wrestling. Well, first things first, because I didn't want to show any bias and start off with any in particular, I thought I'd let this coin flip app decide who I go for first. So, what is AEW?
Tails.
It's a tails. So, which one am I starting with?
Heads.
Oh, starting with NXT, so let's take a look at the opening match of NXT. Well, NXT kicked off with an extended musical opening that left me wondering, have I put the wrong thing on? if it had been YouTube, I'd have been like trying to skip the ad, I think. But Triple H likes listening to music, as a good friend of mine said, so I think he just wanted to put a little bit of a performance on and make things special for Halloween. So, yeah, it was a musical performance. I didn't really have any opinion on that. But other than that, the show kicks off with a really, really cool match. It's Candice LeRae versus Io Shirai, and let's get down to that. It really kicked off quickly. I'm loving Candice and Io as a rivalry. It's quickly turning into Candice's version of the Johnny Ciampa thing, and I think it's actually just really, really cool. So it kicks off, and it's not long before Io hits the Tiger Feint 619, whatever you want to call it, and then she hits a tope plancha. Candice hits back, ends up getting a tope of her own and a senton. Then there's fighting a little bit, and Io manages to get this move, and I was so worried that they weren't going to tell me, because Morrow was just like, whoa. And then Nigel let us know that it was a second rope lung blower by Io Shirai, which I was just like, wow, how is that at the beginning of a match? That's the sort of thing that should be ending a match, and it just instantly had me hyped and drawn into the show. We get a step-up enziguri, pretty sure, from Candice, and then the jockeying position on the apron. Io hits a big boot. Candice answers with a big right, and then Io's trying for a German suplex, but Candice wraps her leg around the calf to block it, which I was very thankful to Nigel for mentioning. Then they fight. Io's hitting strikes, backs Candice up into the corner, gets the corner mount, goes for a superplex, but Candice sends her crashing and goes for a top rope move, but she gets shut down going into the commercial. We get a drop kick from Candice that sends Io into the corner, and then a tornado DDT, which commentary sells as possibly injuring Io Shirai's neck. Candice goes for the avalanche swinging neckbreaker that she used in their last match, but Io has that scouted and sends her crashing. Io tries for the moonsault, but Candice gets the knees up, got her scouted as well. I love that they're both learning, they know each other's move sets, and they're just managing to counter. It felt really impactful and fast, and it was so cool. We get a small package which gets kicked out of, and Io hits an uppercut. She's trying for an armbar, but she can't get the full extension, and she transitions to the head scissors instead, which I thought was really cool. Then Candice manages to get to the ropes. Io gets a chair, and it all just sort of breaks down from there, but eventually It was actually, while I think about it, Io goes to get that chair, and Morrow's like talking about something, and Nigel literally had to scream over him to let us know that he got the chair. But in the end, sort of missed what the finish was. I couldn't tell whether it was a Rana or whatever, but either way, Candice got planted on the chair and Io got a fairly easy pin. Post-match, she starts beating up on Candice, but Rhea Ripley comes out with a chair of her own, starts swinging, and Io Shirai wants none of that. Thought that this was such a great opening to the show. It's just like this fast, hard-hitting match with these two that you know are starting to really, really hate each other. They've both got each other scouted so well, and there was no build. It just went straight into this, like, right, we're going to hit topes, and we're going to fight on the apron and just go for big moves and try and end each other. And I thought that it was a really effective opening to the show and a great addition to the women's division, which I think NXT is doing really well with at the minute. Over to AEW, we got a video package to start things off, recapping last week and showing the stuff that happened with Mox, Kenny and Pac. Then we get this shot of Mox being told that his match with Kenny Omega is going to be a lights out match, which he's really not happy about. I like that Tony Khan was like, I thought this is what you would have wanted, but we'll get to talking about that more when we get to the actual Moxley bit. The first actual match was Sammy Guevara versus Hangman Page, and I'm not gonna lie, I was sort of rooting for Guevara here. The Inner Circle are quickly becoming a much cooler alternative to the Elite, and I'm not really connecting with Hangman Page, but I did enjoy this match. In the early moments, as Guevara's coming out, JR says that he reminds him of a young Eddie Guerrero, and Excalibur says that he's cockiness personified. And then Excalibur also plays up on the tensions within the Elite, talking about the fact that they didn't think that Hangman was all okay and that he wasn't, ready or and all the stuff that's been going on. So yeah, let's get into the actual match. Guevara goes for a boot, but he misses and gets nailed with a chop by Hangman. Hangman hits his own boot and then a suplex for a near fall. Guevara goes to the middle rope, comes off and gets caught into a fall-away slam by Page. They fight to the outside and Guevara slams Page on the apron, and Excalibur talks about the fact that he come down on his back and his head and sells the damage that might have done. Then Guevara goes up to the top, but Page meets him and he levels him with a load of chops. They have a strike fest until Page hits a lariat. Then he hits a big boot, which one of the commentators that I'm struggling to think now does sell as being right across the jaw. He hits a sidewalk slam on the apron and shortly followed gets a powerbomb for the near fall. Page hits an Orihara moonsault, and then Guevara fires up with some strikes, but he ends up getting hit with the buckshot lariat and gets pinned 1, 2, 3. Post-match, Page cuts a short promo where he talks about the fact that things haven't been going so well for him, but at Full Gear he's gonna do some cowboy shit, and he's gonna knock Pac's head off. And I don't know. I'm not down with this cowboy shit thing. The crowd chants it back at him, cowboy shit, and I've just said shit a lot. But yeah, I'm just not sure about it. It doesn't seem cool. Also, I would have liked Hangman to be a little bit madder. I saw on Twitter that Guevara posted, "Don't worry, you'll see your horse soon." And I think anyone who's sort of keeping up with Hangman Page on Twitter will have seen that his horse died last week, and then Guevara's mocking him about it, and I really would have liked to seen Hangman just unload, but I did like this match. I like the sidewalk slam on the apron, the fall away slam, and I am sort of getting into Hangman's matches, but character-wise, I just can't be doing with it. This was a decent opening to the show. I did enjoy it. I didn't enjoy it as much as the Candice and Io match, just because that one was immediately bam, 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 straight away. Whereas in this was, a little bit of build-up. The commentary were talking a little bit about the Inner Circle and the Elite, and it took a while for them to start calling the moves. And the really, when I look at my actual notes, I've probably got 7, 8, maybe 10 notes maximum, and there's not 10 things that mattered in the match, surely there's more than 10 moves that happened, but other than that, I did think that it was a really decent opening to the show that got me into it, and each time Hangman comes out and has another match, I get a little bit more into him, but I'm not down with this cowboy shit thing. Back to NXT, we get a really great bit with Finn Balor. So we get a video package of the stuff from last week with him being talked to on WWE Backstage, saying that it felt good to make a return, but it felt even better to kick Johnny Gargano in the head, that Raw and SmackDown were like Hollywood and it's easy to hide behind the bright lights, but NXT's like Broadway and there's nowhere to hide, and he wanted to really push himself, shake the trees and see what comes out. Then he makes his entrance, and sadly, it's still the Alton Towers ride music. And I hope that doesn't get me copyright. I don't think it does, but I have watched videos where it said that even if you sing a few notes in the right. But anyway, yeah, it was a really, really good promo. And in fact, no, it was a great promo. Probably the best that I've seen Finn do since he started in WWE. So he comes down, and man, this opening line, he's like, a couple of months ago, I was lying down on my back for what's supposed to be the new hottest thing in the business because he put on a mask. Well, I've just taken off my mask, and now I'm the hottest thing in the business. It's like everyone's got their opinions. The office have got their opinions. The fans have got their opinions. The boys in the back and a bunch of Twitter tough guys. He says that the problem around here is that there's too many fans in the back who should be out here watching with the audience. He says that he doesn't watch this business watches him, which brings him to Johnny Gargano. He congratulates Johnny on getting out of hospital, and he says, if you want to go back, I will send you right back, and you won't be Johnny Wrestling anymore, you'll be Johnny Watches Wrestling, exactly how it's supposed to be. And I was like, who is this man? Like, who is this Finn Balor, and where has he been? Yes, okay, I know that it's a WWE creative decision, but just from a kayfabe standpoint, why has he not unleashed this side of himself yet? Makes me so excited to see what he's going to be doing. Another line from that WWE Backstage thing is, let's just say the Prince is back. I've never had a chance to see any of the Prince Devitt stuff, so I'm really, really looking forward to seeing where he goes with this character. All the rest of it was sort of, it was good, but it wasn't like, oh, but that opening line about Bray Wyatt, about lying down for him, man, I thought that was an absolutely great line that was just sort of right there on the line of being a shoot, but still being in kayfabe, because, you could take it as he was lying down because he got beaten, but it's also, to the fans like us, we know it's, laying down, doing the job, and it was so great, and it made it seem, it sort of gave us a reason why he come to NXT. It's like, no, you know what, if you're going to use me this way, if you're going to put some new hot upcoming star against me just because they put a mask on and they got new fancy entrance music, then I'm going to go back to NXT and I'm going to go and actually fight people. This was an absolutely terrific promo. Over on AEW, it's time for some women's action, because it was Shanna or Shauna. I don't know what the pronunciation is. I've heard people saying all sorts of things, but I think commentary was saying Shanna, so that's what I'm going to go with for the purposes of this. It was Shayna versus Hikaru Shida, who the commentary were putting over as just moving to the United States and should be here full time now. So I'm hoping that we will see a little bit more of her in the coming weeks, but I'm not hoping that much because, you know, it's the AEW women's division and we probably won't see them for another 2 weeks, or they'll be in one match like this week. Man, every week I'm like, I wish I could have had a little bit more. But don't get me wrong, this next match was actually pretty cool, and I actually did enjoy it, even if it wasn't, you know, the most groundbreaking match ever. So let's get through to it. It starts off with Shayna getting a waist lock, Shida gets a standing switch, and then we get a sequence of arm drags and technical stuff. Then Shida's on the outside looking for a chair. She sets it up and she uses it as a launching pad to hit a leaping knee strike. She hits a backbreaker and starts hitting toe kicks to the back of Shayna, working that. Shayna starts popping off rights, trying to create separation. Shida looks for a brain buster but gets rolled up. She goes for a brain buster again, but Shayna manages to counter, and then right before the commercial break we get, just starching Shayna there. I'd hate that call. Excalibur seems to use that sometimes when he can't be bothered. Starching. What does starching mean? What does starching mean? Back from commercial, they're jockeying for position on the middle rope. Shayna manages to fight Shida off and hits a leaping double stomp, and then she hits a running punt to the ribs. Shida's fighting back and hits something that makes the commentary just say, crushing and compressing Shayna's spine. Shida hits an outside in suplex. We get a sequence that ends in Shayna getting a near fall, just as Justin Roberts is like talking about the time passing, and then Shida hits some sort of big move that I can't remember whether the commentary didn't call it or whether I just missed it, and then she hits a running knee strike for the finish. Sorry, I was going to say near fall, but for the finish. So sort of like this. Now I'm looking back on my notes, I realise that there wasn't quite as much as I thought that there was. But again, I do actually think that it was fairly fast and hard hitting. There was definitely some cool stuff. I'd like to see some more from Shayna. I like the running punt to the ribs, that's just nasty. Shida hitting the outside in suplex, because that's like the Cesaro sort of thing. I really like that. And I like that she was looking for the chair, and I was like, is she like, because I've never seen her really, so it's like, is she a heel? Is she a face? I don't know. So when she goes for the chair, I'm like, is she going to get herself disqualified? But then just setting it up and using it as a launching pad, I thought was really, really cool. I just wish that there was more going on. There wasn't really any story development here. It was just an exhibition match. And I just feel like, that there should be some sort of story driving the women's division. I know that people are like, yeah, but there isn't much of a women's division because they haven't got like a set division, and people are saying about them being green and stuff, and my argument is just, you shouldn't have started a show with a women's division if you weren't ready for it. You should have just left it, and then in a couple of months you could have been like, oh look, by the way, we've got a women's division now, and you could have had like a women's tournament or whatever. I just hope that now that they've crowned the tag champs, they can actually like push forward and give us some stories for the women, because I'm tired of them just being these names that I've never seen them, I can't see them, and they're just names that are hitting moves, and they've got no character, and I really, really want that to change. Back to NXT, we get a rematch from a match a few weeks back now, a little while back. It's Shane Thorne versus Bronson Reed, two Australian talents that are big, strong, burly men that just hit each other over and over during this next match. Let's get to that. Shane Thorne wants to end things immediately and explodes out of his corner with a dropkick. He sends Bronson Reed into the corner, hits a cannonball senton. Reed starts fighting back. He gets a clubbing clothesline and a quote-unquote gargantuan senton. Then there are many chops, like many chops, like so many chops. I couldn't believe it. It was just the crowd just over and over again, just oh, woo, 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 just so many chops before Bronson Reed ends up hitting a discus forearm. Shane Thorne gets a big suplex for a near fall. Nigel calls him meat pie ugly again. Bronson Reed starts hitting kicks and Morrow calls him a cavalcade of crushing kicks, and I was like, yeah, but no, it's not as cool as when you do it for Riddle. Like, that should have just been something that he should say for Riddle, in my opinion, because I love it when he says it during Matt Riddle matches. So it was just like, oh, that's disappointing. Bronson hits a big punch, a release German suplex, and hits a driver for the near fall. They go up to the top rope, but Reed ends up chopping Thorne in the throat, plants him, and hits a massive splash for the win. And Morrow goes absolutely insane with the fact that there was that much weight flying through the air. And that's cool. That is actually really cool, and I did enjoy this match. I think that I might enjoy sort of hoss matches. I like strikes, so that's not a surprise. And I do like, the big power moves and stuff. And I like matches where people are just kicking the shit out of each other the entire time. And this was definitely that. But at the same time, acting like that was so amazing when we've had, Keith Lee and Dijakovic doing all their stuff over the last few weeks. I did enjoy this, though. I'm really happy to see them using Bronson Reed a little bit more, using that Australian talent, because I like a good Australian accent. I'm a big fan of the show Wentworth, so I've just got a little bit of a thing for Australian accents, and I like seeing their talent. Plus, with the Australian strong style thing, and Bronson being so powerful and having all these strikes, it was just a really fun, impactful match. Next on AEW, we have a Brandy Rhodes video package that shows us her attack on Jamie Hayter last week, and then devolves into music, whispering, more music, more whispering. I'm just like, okay, something's going on with Brandy. Whatever it is, I don't know. Chris Van Vliet's out, and they finally talk about the tag titles. And I was really surprised that they didn't mention it more. Now, I have had the defence from the indie correspondent Glenn saying, well, at least it's not the completely other way with them mentioning it every 2 seconds and having the commentators sound like shills. Yeah, okay, I agree. I would have liked to have felt like a little bit of a bigger deal than it did, but who cares? It was just a small little thing. I just felt like with the build up over the last few weeks doing the tournament, that there might have been a little bit more of a fanfare for it, but that's just a personal quibble. But Chris Van Vliet comes out and he invites out the Rock and Roll Express. They start talking, but not for long, before Santana and Ortiz come out and they start attacking them, and we get classic JR acting outrage stuff, just, oh, by God, and why would they do that, and all that sort of stuff, and we get a crashing noise, and they don't really ever say what happens. I do know from listening to reviews that the Rock and Roll Express got put through a table, and then the Young Bucks come out and help. And I'm like, why did you not come out and help before they got put through a table? I'm like, what? This is the one thing that I hate about wrestling. It's not even an AEW thing. Just take out of your mind that I'm criticising AEW and get out of the comment section, because I'm not. Just hate in wrestling that when stuff like this happens, rather than, immediately coming out, which I guess they shouldn't come out immediately, because if they did, it'd be like, oh, were they waiting for this to happen? But at least before they get put through the tables, god damn. And we get a small sort of video package skit sort of thing with Tony and and Cody on the way to the arena, and they're talking, and Tony Schiavone tells Cody a story about Dusty Rhodes when they met Willie Nelson, about being at the hotel and Willie Nelson introducing himself to Tony. Tony's like, yeah, I know who you are. He goes to fetch Dusty and knocks on the door, and Dusty's butt naked. Why he answered the door and why he was butt naked is beyond me, but it's just one of those Dusty Rhodes stories. And he's getting ready, and he tells Tony that he asks him if Willie Nelson's already there, and Tony's like, yeah, and Dusty's like, good, because the real star always comes out last, and Tony says that's why they should make Jericho wait. And I did like that. I did like that. As much as I'm not into the big dog, Cody Rhodes, because of how much they're sort of forcing us forcing him down our throats, it was still a nice little segment. And Cody talks about wanting to impress his mum, and like Dusty did, and just really talks about just like the history and how much this means to him. And I do think that it made him sort of endearing, but at the same time I can't get past the feeling of like, okay, you're not the best thing since sliced bread. The interviewer asks Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai about their upcoming match, and they talk about the fact that they've worked really hard to get back from the injuries. They've talked about the tag team titles so much, and it's going to feel so good to win them with their best friend. I do really like how much these two are coming across as genuine friends, probably because they are, but they're letting it play out in kayfabe in a really great way. Some of the ways actually play out in this match, so I actually really liked that. We get this bit. Morrow starts referencing the rope-a-dope, that bloody Rumble in the Jungle match. He's like, it's the 45th anniversary of it, and I'm like, sick of hearing about it. I'm not a boxing fan. It can't have been that great. No, I am kidding. I'm sure it was a good boxing match, and I'm sure it was great tactics from whichever one of them did the rope-a-doping, but I'm just sick of hearing it referenced in everything. Nigel says that he hopes that Tegan Nox and Dakota Kai don't employ the rope-a-dope technique, because if they just stand there and take the punishment of the Kabuki Warriors, it's not going to end well for them. Then they make their entrances, and I was like, man, it's so good to hear Asuka's music and know that she's coming into the NXT arena, and I'm going to get a match that I can enjoy because it's in this NXT universe where they're going to let them be them. Even if it is going backwards and forwards between the entrances, Sheamus and Cesaro style. It's like, come on, guys. They're a tag team. Give them a tag team entrance. It endlessly amuses me. You got the and then it just cuts into like the pirate music sort of thing. The guy's got, and it's cutting backwards and forwards, and I'm just like, oh Jesus. And then we actually get the frigging championship ring announcement, which always makes me happy. It really pissed me off a couple of weeks ago when AEW did the women's title match and they didn't give them a championship announcement. It's just like, come on. I'm turning into Jimmy from South Park. Come on, guys. But yeah, I was really happy that they actually did that entrance. We get a loud Asuka's gonna kill you chant. She locks in a side headlock. Tegan Nox tries to escape, but Asuka's just too fast for her, something that plays out throughout this match a few times. Kairi Sane tags in, and Beth's like, Kairi might be small, but let me tell you, she packs a punch. Nice way of mentioning her size, but swerving it to making it sound something good. Kairi hits strikes on Tegan and then demands that Tegan strike her back, which I was like, wow, that's awesome. I really like that sort of thing in a match, when someone's just like, come on, hit me, let's fight. I'm here to have an actual fight. I'm not just here to beat you up. Hit me, goddammit. And then Tegan strikes back, but Kairi stamps on her foot. Then we get a single-legged drop kick by Tegan. She gets a tag, and not long after we go to the commercial. Back from commercial, we get great teamwork and huge impact to Asuka, whatever that means. An arm drag takes down Asuka, but not long after she hits a dragon whip leg screw on Dakota Kai. She starts really taking it to DK. Nigel says that she's hitting some nasty, vicious kick to the chest and the jaw. She gets the leg lock applied, and DK is just in this leg lock for ages. She's trying for the ropes. She's desperate. Commentary's playing up the fact that this is on the good leg, but whether that's bad because the fact that she injured the other leg means that she might be compensating with this one more, and that it might be easier to injure. She's trying for the ropes, and we get this really cool bit that I really liked, where instead of going for the ropes because she realised she wasn't going to be able to get it, she tried for like a kick, enziguri sort of thing, but Asuka avoided it by just tucking her chin and getting out of the way, and I thought that was really impressive. The heels tag frequently, and they're really working that leg. Kairi gets a cocky cover at some point that Morrow is incredulous about, like, how cocky was that? How much has she changed since last time she was here? She gets a figure four, and at some point she transitions so that she's putting pressure on the neck and the leg at the same time. Dakota Kai keeps trying to fire back. Every now and again she'll get a roll-up attempt, or she'll manage to get out, but it's not long before she gets locked back in it. We get a cool bit where Dakota tries to fire up. She hits Kairi, but Kairi just gets super mad and hits a palm strike, and she gets that figure four headlock combo thing locked back in. At some point, Dakota rolls her up, but Asuka just comes in and levels her. We get a cool bit with Beth, who really made this match better. She talks about the fact that Asuka looks like a lioness, which I think was a reference that Morrow was like, oh, nice reference there to some sort of Japanese, maybe a Joshi thing. I'm sure Sky will let me know about that one. But yeah, she was talking about the fact that she looks like a lioness stalking her prey, but didn't like the fact that she was playing to the crowd too much, because she says it's not like Asuka to get distracted by stuff like that as we go into a commercial break. When we get back from the commercial, DK gets out of a cover, and we get this bit where Beth talks about the heartbreak that on Tegan's face, having to watch all of this, having to worry about the injuries that it might be causing her, and just being worried about her best friend, and I thought that was awesome. Dakota Kai kicks out of a tandem net breaker. She has no idea where she is, and unfortunately goes to the wrong corner to try and make the tag. She's getting worked over, but she's trying so hard to get to Tegan Nox. She's going for the tag. Beth starts screaming about it being the oasis in the desert, that she just needs to get there, and she sounds like she really, really cares about it. Dakota hits a scorpion kick, and not long afterwards, she gets the hot tag to Tegan. Tegan comes in, hits choke slams. She starts running wild in a sequence that ends with her doing the diving crossbody. She goes for a shiniest wizard, but it gets countered by an ankle lock, which then is transitioned into a knee bar. Tegan fights out, goes for a cross arm breaker of her own, but Asuka comes in. It all sort of breaks down. Dakota gets a tag again, comes in with renewed energy. We get a bit where Asuka attacks Dakota, but Tegan hits Asuka with a kick. And then as Dakota Kai is closing in on the win, she gets hit with the green mist and a roundhouse kick, and then an insane elbow for the win, and Kairi covers the face so that the ref can't see that they got that Asuka had done the green mist, and quickly after the match realised his mistake, and I did feel sorry for him. I was like, oh no. I really did feel sorry for that ref. It's just an obvious mistake as soon as Kairi gets off Dakota and he sees that she's got a green face. I'm like, oh shit, I've messed up there, but there's nothing that I can do. Even though there totally is, because we've seen matches where things have been restarted because of stuff like that. But either way, Shayna comes out, and I love this because it's just that storytelling. As when Shayna comes out, Beth talks about the fear, and I was like, oh my god, this has got to be so scary for Dakota right now. As much as I'd like them to go down the story route of she's not afraid anymore, she's just been attacked by the Kabuki Warriors. She's just been absolutely brutalised with her leg, worked over, worried about whether it might be injured. She's got green mist all in her eyes, and God knows how much that hurts and what it does to you. And then Shayna Baszler's music, the dun dun doo doo, and you're like, oh no. And I really relate to her. I was like, God, that could not be nice in that situation of just like, this bully who you've been afraid of in the past is just coming out. Tegan starts trying to stand up for her, but the horsewomen lay into her. Rhea Ripley comes out. She starts trying to get to Shayna. Nigel's like, oh, she's only got eyes for Shayna. And then everyone comes out, basically. Io, Candice, Bianca, and they start brawling. It's going crazy. And then Regal comes out. He's like, right, that's enough. Get them apart. Separate them. I really liked it. He was so mad. He's like, right, I've got a simple solution for this. War Games. And I was like, oh my god, they're actually doing a women's War Games match. I was so excited when they said it. This match, man, I haven't really seen a women's tag match better than this. It was so good. Kairi and Asuka working perfectly as a team. When one of them's getting got, the other one comes in to equal the score and make sure that they stay on top. Working the legs, the friendship of Dakota and Tegan. Beth making it so much better by really caring and playing up the friendship and the looks on Tegan's face and how much it must be breaking her heart to see Dakota struggling, and the struggle of Dakota trying to get the hot tag. And oh man, it was just all so awesome. This segment was so great. Back to AEW, it's a Rick and Morty tie-in 6-man tag match between the Best Friends and Silvers and someone else. I don't even know whether it's a real team. I think it's that team that not SCU that Santana and Ortiz squashed a couple of weeks ago. So let's get to that. This wasn't the most amazing match, but either way, Silvers tries to hit a lariat in the corner, Trent counters with a DDT, and Chuck gets a standing sliced bread. We get a rising knee strike and a sexy Chucky knee. Then we get a soul food half and half combo, but Marshall, whoever he is, blocks them from making the cover. Orange Cassidy makes him pay and whips the crowd up into a frenzy in the process. He hits his handless suicide dive. Look, 1 row hands! And then Silvers gets hit with the strong zero for the win. I really wasn't into this match. It just never drew me in. Sticking with AEW, we get the contract signing next, and I was a bit nervous about this because it's like, okay, of all the things that you're going to bring over from WWE, you're going to bring the contract signing, but they did actually manage to subvert it somewhat and make it interesting-ish. And Jericho comes out and he tries to talk crowd chants, "You suck." He tells them that he doesn't suck, Tony Schiavone does, and they boo him more. He tells Cody that he's going to give him a lesson in what it feels like to be a loser. It's the biggest match of the year, the biggest match of Cody's career. If he wins, he'll be world champion, but if he loses, it might prove to him and all these entitled millennials that he's not as good as he thinks he is, man. He's like, no, we're not going to fight. This is too important. I've got poise and grace, and we're not going to make a mockery of this championship match. He offers the hand to Cody, and I think Cody takes it. And then Jericho's like, well, Cody, we could stand here all night, but I think you might be needed elsewhere. Cut to the Inner Circle, beating up Dustin. Jake Hager's there, hits Dustin with a knee to the balls, and then does something that may or may not have broken his arm. I did like this. I really like that Jericho was just being his Jericho self. At one point, he told the crowd to calm down and called them hillbillies, and they chanted asshole at him. And I like that, you know, he sort of made he put up the pretense of, no, we're not going to do anything here, this is just going to be a contract signing, I'm going to come, I've got poise and grace, I'm classy. And then just like, just kidding, I've got my friends beating up your brother. Deal with that one. Well, this next match should be fun because for some reason my notes haven't done it properly. All my notes are there, but usually I press enter between each sequence or move or call so that I can, you know, look through as I'm doing these. And unfortunately, for some reason, my enter button mustn't have been working, so big chunks of my notes are all in one big sequence. So bear with me a little bit on this one. I might not get all of the things that I wanted to say. But up next is NXT, and it's Tyler Bate versus Cameron Grimes. I really like that at the beginning of this, Nigel was like, Tyler Bate is a short and stout competitor, but he's got a tremendous centre of gravity. And I was like, another great way of bringing up his size and not making him sound like he's a pipsqueak. We get some good technical stuff in the early moments, Bate just being his awesome in-ring self. He goes for the Fujiwara, Grimes manages to escape, Grimes goes to do something, but Tyler manages to get the wrist lock, and then Grimes just clocks him in the face, and he's going for something, but Bate manages to escape. Escaping is something that he was doing a lot in this match. They were really playing up on the fact that he could escape from sort of any hold and any move. He hits a drop kick, he gets an airplane spin into a standing drop kick, and then just before the commercial break, Grimes, quote unquote, plants Bate. Then back from commercial, Grimes hits the Carolina Reaper, which is a awesome move. I was going to drop a F-bomb then, but I'm really not sure the age range of people listening to this or anything. I suppose I've said shit a lot. It's a fucking great move. Name for a move. The Carolina Reaper obviously supposed to be a really, really hot chili. And that, I don't know, I thought that was a really, really cool name for a move. Grimes knees Bate in the face and goes for the cover. Because that doesn't work, he starts using joint manipulation, and the commentary puts over the fact that this is something that Pete Dunne usually does. This is something that I actually quite like. When Tyler Bate has matches, they always reference British strong style and show him using strength that he draws from his friendship with them, and I always really like that. Tyler starts fighting back, he hits a knee lift and a diving European uppercut. He gets Tyler gets Grimes in the corner, hits an uppercut and a few exploder suplexes, and then gets a standing shooting star press for the near fall. Grimes gets Bate in the electric chair position, but Tyler manages to reverse this into a Hurricane Rana, and the commentary sells this like it's amazing. Nigel's like, oh, he even tried to hold on to the feet to maximise the impact, and I was like, that was really, really nice. Tyler looks for the Tyler driver, but Cameron manages to counter it with a Superman forearm smash. Bate gets a big right hand, tries for the rebound lariat, but Cameron manages to counter with a collision course. Eventually Tyler does get that rebound lariat and gets the jackknife cover, but Grimes kicks out. Grimes backs Bate into the corner, but Bate manages to send Cameron out of the ring, hits a tope for a big NXT chant, but then Killian Dane causes the distraction and Grimes gets the cave-in double stomp for the win. After that, though, Dane just ends up beating up Tyler Bate. He hits a senton and he attacks the ribs of Tyler Bate, hits a cannonball, and he screams at the camera, do you care about your friend Tyler... Oh my god, I've just completely butchered that one. Do you care about your friend Pete Dunne? We've got unfinished business. Pete's gonna wish that he never said that he didn't care about Killian Dane. Like, granted, it didn't seem like he did. He was just like, I don't care. But he's gonna regret that. I really like that Dane's like, right, fine. I can tell that you mean it. I can tell that you don't care about me, so now I'm gonna go after your friends. Back to AEW, we've got Kenny and the Bucks versus Kip Sabian and the Hybrid 2. Kenny gets this special entrance sort of thing, and this is just one of those things that I have to miss out on. Excalibur talks about how this is the perfect encapsulation of the struggles that Kenny's been on over the last couple of months, and JR asks if he's mentally ill. Kip gets a springboard sent on to the outside. Kenny Omega hits a basement dropkick that takes out both members of the Hybrid 2. We get an Enziguri back elbow combo, and then a diving double stomp by one of the Bucks after stereo common guris. I have no idea what they are, unfortunately. Evans hits a dive to the outside. Kip Sabian goes up top with Matt Jackson. Matt is going for shots to the ribs, but Kip manages to get a Hurricane Rana not long after they go to commercial break, and when they get back, Kenny is suffering from a figure four that's been applied during. Sabian goes for the Deathly Hallows, but Matt manages to counter and he dumps Sabian on his head. Then Kenny and Jack Evans are in. Kenny goes for the V-trigger. Evans manages to dodge. Kenny goes for a German suplex. Evans lands on his feet, but not long after, Kenny hits a V-trigger on what I assumed was him. We get Sabian hitting a boot to the midsection. He mocks Kenny, and then Evans goes for a top rope move. He gets hit with a triple super kick, anti-aircraft, whatever they call it, then a V-trigger, a one-winged angel, and he gets put down for the 1, 2, 3. Then after the match, the Inner Circle attack again, and I really liked it. This match was fast, and I did enjoy it. I like the tag team action. I am slowly getting more and more into the Bucks and their tag team style with the multiple tandem moves, etc, etc. I really like that finish with Evans going for the top rope move and just getting hit with 3 super kicks all at once, and a V-trigger, and a one-winged angel, because it doesn't really seem like it harms him to get the loss at that point. Like, yeah, of course, because he got hit with 3 super kicks at once, and then 2, like, a signature and a finisher of, like, most people would go down to that. And then the Inner Circle attacking, I really like it, because it makes the Inner Circle... I've just actually hit my maximum file size. It just completely cut me off, so sorry about that. Yeah, but the Inner Circle just being all over the show, attacking the Rock and Roll Express, coming out and attacking Dustin, and then attacking the Elite. I just really like that they're all over the place. Makes them feel really dangerous, and I'm properly getting into them now. This must be great for Sammy Guevara, who is one of the standout ones for me, actually. I really like that he's the younger one that's going to learn all this nasty stuff from these, like, 3-4 veterans or whatever, and I really did enjoy this portion of the show. So before we get to the main event, we may as well go with this. It's Moxley coming out and pulling a promo, or cutting a promo, however you say. I always feel weird saying pulling a promo, but it's a great promo. He comes out and he is mad. He's really mad, and it comes across really well. He's not happy that they've made this match between Kenny Omega and himself an unsanctioned match, because it won't count. It's not going to count towards his win-loss record, and he feels like he's being placed in a box. He says, I've been dealing with this for years. I've got yes men in suits saying that I'm a different kind of cat, and they want to put me into a box so that I don't cause any trouble. They're trying to protect the precious Kenny Omega, but I'll teach them. I'm going to beat Kenny within an inch of his life. You're going to see pure wrestling violence. I'm unsanctionable and the sickest son of the bitch in the business. It's just such a good promo, and I really like it from a character standpoint, because it's like... I don't know, it really plays up on this fact that, you know, Moxley was supposed to be in this sort of prison sort of place. He's not happy with how they treated him or whatever. He comes out and he wants something different. He wants to be treated different. But AEW still see him as this mad, unhinged, unsanctionable person. And he's like, he's going to make them pay for that, and I really like it. I thought it was really impressive. Just like, right, okay, you're going to assume that I'm just violent deathmatch guy. Okay, I'll show you. I'll teach you for putting me in that box, because I was perfectly willing to just wrestle a normal match. He was perfectly willing to just get a win against Kenny and have it be in his record and it looked good, but instead they want to protect Kenny. And I really like that Tony is like, oh, I thought that this is what you would have wanted, and it's like, no, this shows that you don't know me at all. You're just assuming that this is what I want, and I don't want it. And I think it was a really, really good bit of character development from Mox, where you see that there is sort of vulnerability to him. There's this outrage at being put in a box and seen as an outsider and being seen as this stupid guy that can only wrestle violent matches. And to be honest, I really wouldn't want to be Kenny Omega in this situation, because he's going to get some horrible stuff done to him. And now it's time for the NXT main event. It's Matt Riddle teaming up with Keith Lee to take on Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish of the Undisputed Era. This one I was really looking forward to. As soon as they announced it in the show, I was like, wow, this could be really, really cool. A bit of a weird one, a bit of a sort of unlikely pairing, and it was sort of disappointing, because I wanted it to be Dominik Dyjakovic, because them two teaming up would be really cool. But still, I was like, okay, Matt Riddle, Keith Lee, this could be really, really cool. So let's get to the match. So the bell goes and Undisputed try to be all clever. They take out Matt Riddle, but Keith Lee's like, whatever, I don't care, and he just levels both of them. Undisputed try to go for the low bridge, but Lee is just like, I'm not having any of this, and blocks them from that. He hits a shoulder block, he hits some overhand chops and a Grizzly Magnum, tags in Riddle, and Riddle hits a jackhammer going into the commercial. Back from commercial, Matt Riddle hits a trio of gut wrench suplexes. I love them deadlift gut wrenches. I wish I could see them, because I bet they look awesome. I've always loved a good deadlift German suplex. Then O'Reilly lights up Riddle with strikes, and commentary plays up the fact that they Undisputed are teaching each other different types of martial arts, with O'Reilly teaching Fish submission holds and Fish teaching O'Reilly strikes. Fish hits a senton for a near fall. He's hitting Muay Thai knee strikes and then goes for the body scissors from the back. He tries for the crossface. He ends up getting a chin lock, and Keith Lee is trying to fire up Matt Riddle. The crowd does the Goldberg-style Riddle chant as O'Reilly gets a leg lock and Riddle hits heel strikes. He goes for the tag, but Fish blocks him off with a kick, and O'Reilly hits a flying forearm. Then Riddle's hitting both members of Undisputed Era with kicks until Fish hits a brainbuster for a fall that Keith Lee breaks up. And not long after, Riddle gets a hot tag to Keith Lee, who hits double clotheslines. Lee hits a pop-up slam and he goes for a moonsault, but nobody's home. O'Reilly's going at him for a little bit, but eventually Keith Lee manages to I think O'Reilly must have been going for some sort of armbar. Keith Lee picks him up, and he just curls him, which I thought was really cool. Just shows the strength of Keith Lee, just lifting him up. Hits a power bomb. Then we get a penalty kick from Matt Riddle, followed by a series of exploder suplexes and a Broton. But the rest of Undisputed Era come out, which causes a little bit of a distraction. Matt Riddle manages to hit a twisting Asai moonsault, goes back in after Fish and hits a ripcord knee strike. Keith Lee sends Adam Cole into Roderick Strong, but this causes some sort of distraction, and Fish manages to hit the finish and pick up the win. The right decision, in my opinion. Matt Riddle and Keith Lee are a cool team, but they're not an actual tag team, and it just made sense for Undisputed to pick up the win here, even with it being a bit of a dodgy win. After that, Undisputed all attack Keith Lee. Lee fights back and sort of wipes them all out a little bit. They come back, Ciampa makes the save with his crutch, and we go off the air as Ciampa tells Goldie that she's gonna have to wait because Daddy's going to war, which it's a cool line again. I'm not too into the daddy thing, I don't know, seems weird, but at the same time I do like that he's like, right, I've come back for Goldie, but she's going to have to wait because I need to get rid of Undisputed Era. I'm going to war, and the War Games match should be really, really good. So it looks like we're going to get. I don't think Johnny's going to be in it because by the looks of it, he's going to have to take on Finn. So we're going to get Riddle, Lee, and Riddle, Lee, Ciampa, and then either Dominik Dyjakovic or The Dream, surely. And either way, that's going to be an absolutely cracking match. It was a really good main event. I like the tag team action. I found it a little bit confusing every now and again, but I didn't feel like I missed any big moments, and I just thought it was a really good way of closing off the show. NXT in general, I enjoyed pretty much 100%. I can't think of a bit that I didn't like. I thought that it was just from start to finish was really, really great. The Candice and Io match was great. Finn Balor's promo was awesome. The Shane Thorne Bronson Reed match was short and impactful. The tag title match was great. Tyler Bate versus Cameron Grimes was probably the only one that I could have dropped off this, but it was still a really good match. And Killian Dane coming after British Strong Style is a really cool little development as well that I didn't really see coming, so that's great. And then this main event just capped off the show, and I just thought that it was from start to finish really, really good. And I was just waiting for like the shit part. I was waiting for like the boring downtime, and it just didn't come. It was just like boom, 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 boom. Over to AEW, and of course the main event here is the tag team title match. Not that you'd have known it because they didn't mention it that much. No, seriously though, as soon as they actually started coming out and they started doing the championship announcement and all that sort of stuff, I was like, okay, I'm ready for this match now. And I've really been enjoying the tag title tournament despite the fact that some of the matches I haven't been able to keep up with, but I was really looking forward to this SCU Lucha Brothers match, so let's get to that. So the bell rings and it breaks down into a slugfest immediately. Not long afterwards the crowd goes wild and commentary's just like, oh wow, that was tough. Then Pentagon hits a pump-handled driver for a near fall. We get a sling blade, but commentary never says who from. I just sort of assumed it was from Pentagon just because he was the last person that I heard, and then it just seems like a more Lucha Brothers thing to do, but I'm probably wrong. There's just a big chunk of the match where commentary didn't really say anything. They weren't calling any of the moves, and it was long enough that my next note is commentary calling this match. Commentary not calling this match is just making me bitter already. Kazarian pulls Phoenix in front of a kick by Pentagon. We get a Hurricane Rana off the steps by Sky. Phoenix kicks out of a German suplex, and then Phoenix gouges the eye and does something that makes Excalibur go, oh my god, and JR goes, he's unbelievable. And I was just like, okay, so if you're gonna sell the fact that he's ultra athletic and that move was really important, don't you think that you should say it? Kazarian gets hit with a leg drop going into the commercial. When commercial comes back, the Lucha Brothers are still on top. We get a drop kick into the cover on Kazarian, and not long after, Kazarian hits the Angel's wings out of desperation. Really like that. He's really struggling. What can I do? This is something that one of my best friends and my tag team partner does, so I'll do his move. A diving back elbow takes out Phoenix, then a head scissors takes down Pentagon. Kazarian tries for a Hurricane Rana from the top rope, but JR says that he gets the worst of it, drilling his own head into the canvas. Oh, a beautiful reversal there by Scorpio Sky, and that gets a near fall. Then Pentagon comes over the top and hits a destroyer, and Phoenix hits a cutter on Sky for the near fall. Pentagon and Kazarian collide with cross bodies. Then Kazarian gets sent through a table, Scorpio Sky gets hit with some sort of big move, and the commentary says that the Luchas aren't covering the legs properly, and then we get the finish of the match where the Luchas go for their finish, and Sky gets a roll-up win to win the first ever tag team title match. Not sure that I like that. Look, this match was alright. It could have been way better if it wasn't for the fact that the commentary really let it down. They didn't. There was no amazing calls during this. I don't know. It just felt like for a match that was so important, commentary really could have stepped up the game. Usually, I say that Excalibur seems to get better when the stakes are higher, but it just didn't really seem that way. And the fact that Sky just gets this roll-up finish for just like the least impactful win, it left me feeling bummed out, to be honest. I'm not gonna lie. Yesterday was one of those days where I was like, maybe wrestling's just not for me. Maybe it's just too visual, and I'm clinging on to something that I should have just given up on. And then I watched NXT, and I enjoyed every second of it, and it just annoys me because All Elite, in terms of what they've got going on with the Inner Circle versus the Elite, the storyline with Kenny and the troubles he's having, John Moxley having, coming unglued and getting annoyed at All Elite, and, the rise of Sammy Guevara, and all of that, I'm getting really interested in it, but the commentary just doesn't do it justice, and it's like having something that, it's like watching an awesome movie where they're going for, they're building to this set piece, and you're like, I really want to see this set piece, I really want to see it, and then the commentary, the director just cuts away, and it's just like, just imagine if you were watching a match, and as they go for the big move, it just cuts to a black screen, and you just hear, oh, and that's just what it feels like with AEW sometimes. Don't get me wrong, as the indie correspondent Glenn has pointed out, it's not as bad as main roster WWE, but that's not a high bar. That's like saying it's better than dog shit. I don't watch the main roster anymore because they've driven me away with it. So, yeah. I thought creatively this was probably the best All Elite show there's been, but I also feel like it really wasn't great for the commentary. All in all, I really enjoyed both shows, but it's not a secret that I have that I've enjoyed NXT more this week. I'm really intrigued by what AEW's got going on, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what goes next. But god, NXT's just on this next level at the minute. Candice and Io having this rivalry and it getting more and more intense is something I'm really liking. Keith Lee's on TV more. The Undisputed Era stuff's great. Finn Balor being back, it's just all working out really well. And the War Games matches, I think that maybe it's just because I'm more invested in them, but yeah, honestly, it wasn't a great week for wrestling, for the commentary in general. No one really got given points, because even in NXT it wasn't like there wasn't any amazing bits where it's like, oh yeah, that deserves a point, but I also didn't feel like I missed anything, and I definitely did in AEW. There was definitely parts where I was like, oh come on, and it was really, really frustrating, but it's a good week creatively for storyline. So yeah, my battery is running out of charge, but let's see if we can fit in this. I said that a wrestler had answered the WITD challenge, and it's true. Dominik Dyjakovic got in touch with me via Twitter. I was like, whoa. So I post this bullshit tweet. I'm like, it's Dominik Dijakovic talking about the fact that he's going to be taking on Roderick Strong, and this was like last week or whatever, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to post some stupid tweet that'll be, funny or whatever. And I was like, oh, Roddy's got to bask in his glory and feast his eyes at the same time. And it just ended up getting to, I think there was a couple of exchanges back and forth, but eventually Dijakovic got in touch with me and said, direct message me, and I'm struggling trying to find out how to direct message him. And eventually he actually messaged me and he's like, hi, sorry if this is inconvenient, do you use TalkBack? Which again was a surprise. I'm freaking out at this point, and I'm like, Dominik Dyjakovic is getting in touch with me. And he asked me what I wanted from the WITD challenge, and I said it'd be nice to know in your own words what you look like, what your entrance and your attire is like, how you move in the ring, and what your finisher is. And he's actually described it all in his own words. So let's get to that. So with the help of my trusty talkback assistant Vera, this is Dominik Dyjakovic in his own words.
Dominik Dyjakovic, my entrance gear is a jacket with a hood, gold sleeves with a blue and red leather pattern. Red hood with gold letters, Dominik on the hood and Dijakovic on the back. Sunday, 21:35. Dominik Dyjakovic, well, I'm a tall guy, 6'7", 270 pounds, fairly lean, natural looking physique. Kind of a European looking face, big nose, strong jaw sort of thing. I'm white but usually have a pretty decent tan when I wrestle. Short brown hair that's buzzed on the sides, faded into a spike on the top. My gear is black bicep bands with red eyes. Red elbow pad on my right, gold elbow pad on my left. Black wrist tape, red bikers that say Dijakovic with eyes. A red right knee pad that says Feast Urine and gold left knee pad that says eyes. Very tall black boots. Sunday, 21:30. Dominik Dyjakovic, my entrance gear is a jacket with a hood, gold sleeves with a blue and red leather pattern. Red hood with gold letters, Dominik on the hood and Dijakovic on the back. Sunday, 21:35. Dominik Dyjakovic, my entrance is I remove my hood, then do a right elbow strike, left elbow strike and right knee strike at the top of the ramp. Slowly walk to the ring, then grab the top rope from the floor. Enter the ring, remove my jacket, then toward the camera I say feast your eyes with a hand gesture for each word. Feast is my arms extended like a cross with my hands like two mouths, your is the same but pointing my index fingers, and eyes is pointing at my eyes. Sunday, 21:30. Dominik Dyjakovic, my finisher is a torture rack burning hammer type situation, then I force the man into a backflip where he lands on his feet but is bent at the waist. My right knee comes across my body to strike the man in the face as soon as he lands on his feet. Sunday, 21.
How detailed is that? I was so impressed. I couldn't believe it. I've been sending out these WITD challenges for ages, trying to get people to do this, and it's really excited that of all people it's Dominik Dyjakovic. I'm going to be a mark for this guy now. The fact that he's done this means that I know what he looks like, what he moves like. I think that it's all going to be really interesting to see going forwards what it's going to be like. I think I did miss out one of the entries that he sent, which I think he says he moves with a smooth, lumbering sort of movements. Nothing is pretty, but there's some athletic movements. And I just, what a cool guy Dominik Dyjakovic is. So hopefully that's just the first of many wrestlers to answer the WITD challenge. Tweet at Dominik, tell him he's awesome, and I'm just really happy that he did that. I will try to put it in my description. I don't know whether it will allow me to have a description that long, but if you want to read through what he said because you couldn't understand my talkback or whatever, just take a look in the description, and it should be there, but I will let you know in the description if I can't put it because it's too long. Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, click the like button, let me know. Remember, every interaction helps the YouTube algorithm like me more. And if you want to share your thoughts on NXT, AEW, this episode of WITD, or the awesomeness of Dominik Dyjakovic, you can do so in the comments section or on Twitter at Mason_WITD, or you can join the Discord server, the link for which will be in the description. I've had a really good time with this one. Long, but good. So, I hope that you have too, and make sure you subscribe if you want to get more wrestling content from a blind person's point of view. I'm off, guys, and you should have a good one.